Some people break under pressure, others become unbreakable. The difference, it's not talent, it's not luck, it's not what happens when you get hit or when you lose, when you fail, it's what you do next. If you've ever felt like setbacks are knocking you down, and if you've ever thought, maybe I'm just not cut out for this, I want you to stick with me. Because today I'm going to show you how to turn failures into fuel and how to become unbreakable using a principle called anti-fragility. This isn't about bouncing back, it's about coming back stronger. And to prove it, I'm going to tell you about 3 stories of world-class athletes who faced devastating failures, but didn't just recover, they became legends because of them. Let's get after it. Imagine this. You're in high school and basketball is everything to you. You dream of making the varsity team, but when the roster goes up, your name isn't on it, you're cut. You go home, lock yourself in the room and cry. But after that, you make a decision. This will never happen again. You show up to the gym after school, every weekend, grinding in silence. That failure, that rejection, fuels you like nothing else. And because of that, you go on and become the greatest basketball player of all time. Of course, I'm talking about Michael Jordan. Most people don't know this, but MJ was actually cut from his high school varsity team as a sophomore. But instead of using that moment to define him, he used it as rocket fuel. Years later, he said, I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of success. Now imagine this. You're a young quarterback, but no one believes in you. You don't have the size, the athleticism, or the natural gifts. When the draft comes, you wait and wait and wait. 6 rounds go by before you're finally picked, almost as an afterthought. Fast forward a few years, you're not just playing in the NFL, you're the greatest to have ever done it. That's the story of Tom Brady. Drafted 199th overall in 2000, Brady was told he was too slow, he was too weak, and he wasn't going to cut it in the league. But instead of accepting that narrative, he worked relentlessly, building himself into the greatest quarterback of all time. He wasn't the most gifted, he was the most obsessed with growth. If they doubt you, let that fuel you. You define your future, not them. Now imagine this. Growing up in a body that wasn't built to do the very thing that you dreamed of. You have scoliosis, a condition that curves your spine, and one leg that's significantly longer than the other. Running feels awkward, inefficient, and painful. Doctors tell you it's going to hold you back. Most people would see this as an impossible barrier, but instead you train harder, you work through the pain, you figure out how to make your body work for you instead of against you, and in the end, you become the fastest man to have ever lived. This is a story of Usain Bolt. Bolt didn't have a textbook runner's body. His scoliosis forced him to train differently, pushing his limits, strengthening his core, and perfecting his stride. And rather than seeing his uneven legs as a disadvantage, he found a way to make them work to his advantage. The result? He became an 8-time Olympic gold medalist and rewrote the record books in sprinting. Your biggest limitation might be the exact thing that makes you unstoppable if you choose to adapt instead of making excuses. So what do all these stories have in common? They weren't just resilient, they were anti-fragile. Psychologist Nassim Taleb coined the term anti-fragility, which means that instead of breaking under stress, you grow stronger because of it. People who reframe failure as fuel for growth perform significantly better under pressure. So this is how you become unbreakable. Reframe your failure. It's not the end, it's a lesson. Use setbacks as fuel. Let rejection light a fire inside of you and keep showing up. Greatness isn't about being the best today, it's about improving every day. So let me ask you, are you going to let failure break you or build you? Because the truth is, the people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who use failure as a foundation for their greatness. Drop a comment below. What's one setback you're going to turn into fuel? Let's start rewriting that script, because the moment you do it, you become unbreakable. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, setbacks don't stop you, they shape you. Now let's get to work.